Hello everyone, Josh here with X's. Now we're bringing out another Outer Plane video, and today we are bringing back the versus battles. Today we have Eternal versus Aer. Who truly is the heir, pun intended, to the throne of #1 fire DPS in the game right now. So, of course, again, we're having Eternal and Aer battle it out in the simulation. They're going to be rocking the same exact set of gear. We're going to try and formulate this away, or format this rather, in a way that it's fair for both to try and go in and get as much damage as we can. We're also going to be running Valentine for, of course, that crit rate up, because the gear that we're rocking for both heroes is going to have 50% crit chance. So this should make sure that the test will have all crit damage numbers calculated, so we don't have to worry about any non-crits, which will be very helpful. And any of the numbers that we post, I will have them in the description below, and I'll also post them as a pinned comment below the video as well. So if you guys and gals want to see what the numbers are, beyond me just reading them out to you here on the video, then you'll be able to see them down there as well, so you can kind of see a visual representation of kind of what these heroes are actually doing. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the ultimate first, and then the skill 2, and then the skill 1. And then we're going to go back in and use the burst max for both these heroes. And what I'm going to try and do as well is, because since Eternal has a defense down in her kit, and that will of course greatly increase the damage output, we're going to try and set up to where we can also use Eternal when we're testing Aer as well. We'll just throw her on some other random set that has some kind of speed on it or something. That way we can get that defense down, and then Aer can go in and do her damage as well. So we can kind of, better make this as close to an apple-to-apple comparison as we can. It's not going to be precise or exact, but we're going to try and make it as fair as possible. And I want to know what you guys and gals think in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to come out on top overall in terms of DPS output between these two heroes? Keep in mind, Eternal is hitting multiple targets on her skill 1, 2, and her third. Her ultimate is also an AoE. Whereas Aer is just purely single target. So that's going to play a little role in there, a little factor, if you will. So it's going to be really showing us kind of what the modifiers look like for both these characters. And you can also see here with the gear that we're rocking, our Eternal is 4,003 attack. Of course, that's going to be amped up because she's going to become a 6-star inside simulation, whereas she's only 4-star right now. Our Aer is also 4-star. So when we put the same set of gear on her, you're going to see a quick little visual representation of the difference in their base attack and how the gear is scaling. I believe when we put the same set of gear on Aer, she's going to be around 4,500 attack versus Eternal, who's only sitting at 4,000. And again, they're both 4-star. And they will be both amped up to 6-star inside the simulation with their skills, of course, maxed out. All right, so let's first go in and test out Eternal. And you'll probably see me do moments where I'm pausing for a little bit here as I write down and, get all these numbers put in. That way I can have that for you guys and gals at the end of the video, and obviously put it in the comment section and description so you guys can read along if you'd like. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do the crit damage up first. And we're going to be doing this for both heroes, so don't worry. And we're not looking at how much, health the boss is losing. We're just purely looking at the damage numbers themselves as they appear on the screen. So, Eternal, going to turn this down. Over-clicked it. It's going to use her ultimate first. Now, of course, this is an AoE. All right. We got 11,591. Okay. It's going to use skill 2, and we also have the defense down now as well, so let's go and do this. $12,756. Okay, we have that marked down. Some of these I already pre-marked these down. I'm just testing them again to make sure the numbers come up the same, just to be on the safe side. Now we still have our defense down, and we still have our crit rate and our crit damage up. Let's go and see what this does on the single target. On the basic ability. 10,034. Okay, so all those numbers checked out from my previous test. Now we're going to leave, come back in, and we're going to use her burst at max, which makes her skill 2, which hits multiple targets, become a single target that hits for greater damage. Let's go back in. And keep in mind as well, since we are using fire heroes here, and the boss is Earth, we are of course doing 20% additional damage So keep that in mind as well. The damage is a bit inflated, but it's going to be fair for both, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, and let's go ahead and use the burst level 3. This also steals buffs, by the way. Obviously, there's no buffs to steal. $20,266. Okay, so all my numbers that I tallied up before are accurate. So let's go ahead and swap over this gear to Aer, and we will be right back. Okay, and we're back here, and now we have the gear swapped on over to our girl Aer. As you can see, the same set of gear, 4,562 attack versus the 4,000 or whatever it was attack for Eternal. So there's definitely a big gap there in how the attack is scaling because the base stats are different. So there's that. And again, it's going to be 50% crit chance. So we are running, of course, our girl Valentine to give us that guaranteed crit. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to go and run Eternal naked. Don't get too excited, guys and gals. We're going to be running her naked, so we'll use a couple base attacks first. We're not going to count those numbers, and we're not going to use the bonus for Valentine yet. Well, maybe we could. We'll see how it goes. And that way I can hurry up and get that Eternal defense down to go off before we start using, Aer and calculating her damage. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and jump in. Now, what's cool is I already marked down her damage with this gear before I include the defense down. So if you guys and gals are curious, beyond me just reading it out to you at the end of the video, again, I will have it pinned and in the description below. You can see what the damage looks like for Aer with and without a defense down. And by the way, if you're also curious, the defense for this boss is 1187, and of course the defense down will be cutting that in half. So the damage mitigation probably won't be that much. The difference between the damage and the damage mitigation from the defense down and not having it probably won't be that much. That's what I meant to say. Okay, let's get in. Let's get into this. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's look at our turn order real quick. Okay, so it's not too bad. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and just going to pop the basic ability really quick. Just hurry up and get that out of the way. Now, this is not going to be counted. We're not going to count any of that right now. We're not counting that yet. We're going to count it after we get everything else in play. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and pop this. Now we have the crit rate up, the crit damage up, just like before. Hopefully that doesn't push that past. Okay, good. And now we're going to go and pop the ultimate to get our defense down. And now we can actually do the real test here with our girl Aer. Okay. Now, oh yeah, that's right. She gets to attack again. She has her EE on. My bad. Okay, now let's go ahead and do this. Go and use the ult first. See what the numbers say. $30,965. So 30,965. That's actually a little bit more damage than I actually expected, because the boss only had a little under 1,200 defense. We lowered it by half, but somehow her damage... Now, her ultimate without the defense down did 22,554. With the defense down, she did 30,965. That's a little over 8,000 damage difference. Now, that is interesting. That makes me think that defense is actually mitigating more than I originally thought. Interesting. Okay, so that's some interesting data there to calculate there. So, yeah, it went from 22,554 to 30,965. That's kind of crazy. Now, let's go ahead and do the skill 2 now. 2464. Okay, so her damage on her skill 2 without the defense down was 14,904. With the defense down, it's 20,464. So we got a little under 6K difference there. Interesting as well. Very interesting. Okay. All right, let's do skill 1 now. Oh, we actually killed the boss, so we'll have to do another test. All right, never mind. I forgot he respawns. My bad. I usually never kill this guy, so I honestly didn't even realize that he responded. That's funny. Okay, let's do this again. We still have everything still set up. Or no, we don't have the defense down. Crap, we don't have the defense down. All right, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get this right. Okay, so we'll do this again. Just get that stuff all up and ready to go. Hopefully that doesn't pass up Eternal. Good. Now, Eternal, we just need you to get a defense down real quick just for us for a moment. Thank you. Okay, now this is going to be the numbers that we want to see. What does a skill 1 do with a defense down? 17,284. Okay. All right, so without the defense down, Aer did 12,589 damage. With the defense down, her skill 1 did 17,285. So about, again, a 5k difference. So we've seen between a 5 and 8k damage difference between her skill 1, 2, and her ultimate. Now what we want to do is back out, go back in one last time, get the setup the way we want it to, and then use her burst at max and see what that difference is in damage. Because right now, without the defense, her burst did 25,260. So I'm very curious if we're still going to get that same 5 to 8k range. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. We don't have the defense down yet, but we have those buffs for 3 turns, so it doesn't really matter. We just need Eternal to take her turn. Okay. Pop that again. Alright, so we're going to use Eternal's ultimate. Skill 1 doesn't really matter. Okay, now, oh, okay, now, there we go. We're going to use our max burst. We're going to go and see what kind of damage we can do. Again, before defense down, it did 25,260. With defense down, let's see. 34,676. Wow. So 34,676 is pretty huge because it did 25,260 without the defense down. With it, it jumped up almost 10,000 damage. So we have a range now with this defense down on this particular boss. We have a range of between a 5,500 damage increase all the way up to nearly 10k between her skill 1 through ultimate and her max burst. So there's definitely some varying damage there with the defense down. That just goes to show that defense down is really pumping some additional damage out there, and really just goes to show that Eternal is really, helping your team do so much more damage than without, by being able to keep that defense down constantly up, which is very essential for some stages out there, including the new the new Chimera 12, which is a very, very strong stage, especially if you're trying to clear it to 3-star, which is like within 25 turns. So it's very challenging for some players out there. So to have Aer being able to be kind of supported by a defense down constantly from Eternal, that's pretty huge. So again, let's run down these numbers real quick. Aer, now this is Aer's numbers without the defense down. Without. 22,554 with ultimate. Skill 2, 14,904. Skill 1, 12,589. Burst max 25,260. With defense down, it's ultimate 30,965. Skill 2, 20,464. Skill 1, 17,284. And burst max 34,676. With Eternal, the ultimate is 11,591. Skill 2 is 12,756. Skill 1 is 10,034. And her burst max is 20,266. Now, there's one thing that I do want to quickly test, and we'll do a little skip here in the video to find out. But I really want to use Eternal's Skill 1 defense down before I use her ultimate, because I want to make absolutely sure that that defense down is being applied when I use her ultimate to fairly give her a proper number. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're going to be doing the final little portion of this test. I just wanted to double check and make sure that we're getting all of our ducks in a row here in this video. Hopefully I didn't miss anything important as well, because I want to try and make this as accurate as possible. So if I did miss anything, I'd apologize. You can let me know and tell me about it in the comment section below. So we got the gear back on Eternal. We're going to go back in here with, back in with her one more time, and I'm going to use her skill 1 first, get the defense down, and then use her ultimate just to make sure that we're not missing any damage there, just in case on how that actual debuff procs, if it's before or after the damage calculation. Because right now Eternal did 11,591 on her ultimate. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna put up our buffs here, and now we're going to use her skill 1 first to apply the defense down. Okay. Now let's go ahead and use her ultimate to really gauge what the damage really is on her ultimate here. If it matters if the defense down is applied yet or not, or if it's automatically applied before damage calculation. So this is definitely going to be a little bit of a learning experience as well, in case you guys and gals were curious. Okay, 15,915. 15,195. So that tells me that the defense down is being applied after the damage calculation on her ultimate. So that's some useful information in case you guys and gals were curious, because we went from 11,000 and so damage to now almost 16,000 damage. So there was definitely an increase there. Now the other two skills, we already used them after defense down was applied, so we don't need to go in and change anything there. So the final numbers are in. The final numbers are in. Eternal does almost, she does 15,915 on her ultimate, 12,756 on her skill 2, 10,034 on her skill 1, and 20,266 on her burst max, which is also the only way that you can do a single target attack with Eternal. So Eternal's burst max is 20,000 versus 34.6 thousand with Aer. That's the direct, single target burst max damage between those two. Where it gets a little bit difficult is, of course, Eternal's ultimate is AoE, so that's up to 4 targets that she can hit for 15,915 damage. So you're looking at roughly 65k damage perhaps that you can get out of her there, versus 30,965 with one single target for Aer. So basically Eternal can do double damage if there's 4 enemies versus 1 enemy for Aer. But if it's one-on-one, then Aer is doing double damage. The skill 2 for Eternal, which hits 2 targets before you burst it, obviously, is doing 12,756 versus 20,464 with Aer. Now, that's not that bad either, honestly, because you're going to get about 25k damage with Eternal in that skill 2 if she's hitting 2 targets for that same amount of damage, and you're going to be getting 20,464 with 1 for Aer. So Aer is still holding up pretty well there too, to be honest. 2 targets for 25k total, or 1 target for 20k total. That's your difference. So Aer is still doing very well. And then, of course, skill 1 between the two, we have a 17,284 for 1 target with Aer, or 10,034 for 2 targets with Eternal. So 20k versus 17k. Hands down, in my personal opinion, Aer is the true heir to the crown when it comes to fire DPS in the game. So anybody out there that was naysaying or a little bit, feeling a little bit underwhelmed, the numbers do not lie. And again, I will have these numbers posted in the comment section below and inside the description of the video. Aer is doing some crazy damage. Now, keep in mind, a lot of those numbers are being yanked a little bit, or I guess you could say they're being a little bit scaled up a little bit, because we got our girl Eternal in here giving a defense down. But I tried to make this test as fair as possible. If you take away the defense down from Aer for that additional damage, and we just strictly talk about what Eternal can do by herself versus what Aer can do by herself, then Eternal looks a little bit more impressive. Because now Eternal is putting up, in my opinion, better numbers based on her skill set, with the speed down, with the evasion down, with the defense down, more consistent, taking additional turns. It's just a lot more that you're able to do with Eternal at that point if you take away the defense down. But if you're including the defense down, like we did here in this test, then Aer is definitely taking the cake when it comes to damage. But you take it away, it's more of a closer battle. So you let me know in the comment section below, who do you guys think is the clear-cut winner here between Eternal, Aer, and who did you think originally going to the video who was going to win, and was it different than the actual result? So again, let me know in the comment section below. I'll be glad to read as many of those as I possibly can. Again, with my personal opinion, I think Aer won this battle, because if you're running Aer more times than not, you're probably going to be running Eternal as well if you have her. But if you want to play devil's advocate and you want to just strictly consider this individual versus individual, which I guess you could argue could be the case for a video like this, then I think it's a lot closer than that. And maybe even some of you might side with Eternal taking the win. So I guess it really depends on the situation. But these are two incredible fire DPSs. Nonetheless, they're both incredible heroes, and you'll be happy to own both. They will not disappoint. But that's going to be it for me. If you guys want to see more verse fights in the future, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, take notifications, and join me in the Discord in the description below. As always, until next time, as always, peace. Oh, I forgot. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Exodus Network. All right, I'm out of here. Until next time.